Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Alex and EJ here, and it's your weekly fishing report. So, a lot of cool things to talk about this week.
Yeah, Alex, I think this week's message is everything's biting everywhere. Almost everything. Everything's biting almost everywhere in all different types of ways.
Yep,
so it's pretty exciting.
One key thing is fall fishing. So, your fall fishing patterns are coming back in. Cooler temperatures in the mornings.
Yep.
At least we had some cooler temperatures in the mornings. And of course, that starts the annual rockfish fall stuff. So let's get started with some rock fishing and what's going on jigging wise.
Yeah, bridge,
your typical spots. But remember, one spot that not many people go to is Belvedere Shoals.
Yeah,
and if you don't know where that is, it's pretty much between the Magothy and the Patapsco, between Baltimore Lighthouse and the 7-foot knoll. Everything between there is Belvedere Shoals.
Yeah.
A lot of humps, a lot of areas where you go in shallow and then there's a hole in there. So a lot of fish moving through there.
Yeah, and again, I go back to trusting your electronics. So you know, you want to go over there, you should be able to mark those fish.
Yeah, and even if you don't, it's just common, you know, kind of trust yourself, and you know, if you see anything that looks fishy, try it out. I mean, honestly, channel edges, anything like that, even if you don't have a sonar, just go by landmarks and those channels will always have fish, so drift through there. Now, other than that, in those areas, with jigging wise, Love Point's been picking up, Swan Point's been picking up, 7-foot knoll, the mouth of the Patapsco's been pretty good. Outgoing tide, I've heard, is going to be your key right now, pretty much early morning if you have an outgoing tide, or even in the evenings. You just got to have some sort of tide movement, but mainly outgoing tide, getting those bait fish out of the rivers and whatnot, so that's going to be a key with that.
Yep, and I have seen pictures. Customers have come in. The bridge has, the bridge can be hit or miss, but there's always fish there. So again, one suggestion I have that I do, I don't spend too much time at a specific pollen. So if you're fishing the pollens at the bridge, you're fishing rock piles, give it a few casts. If you don't get a hit, move on to the next one.
Correct.
And then keep going. You'll eventually find them because there's always fish there.
Right.
Yep.
Now, with that saying, down south, there's some keeper rockfish and some decent sized fish. You're just going to have to deal with, you know, bluefish and the other creatures around. But Thomas Point, classic spot, and for you shore fishermen, that is really going to be your best chance at awesome fishing from the shore, you know, and that's at Thomas Point Park. So check that out online and see what you got to do to get in there. But top water there has been pretty productive at night, well, evenings. Topwater lures that most of the guys are using there are pretty much going to be pencil poppers, something that's heavy and has a side-to-side action that you can really get out there. And these tsunami talking poppers are pretty awesome because they have a weight transfer system. So for you shore fishermen or even on the boat, you can really cast them out a long distance. And it's pretty much walks to the side, but it's also popping water with that cup mouth in there. So that's been pretty productive for you guys out there.
I've heard some of the top water around the points, like around Gibson Island and so forth, has been red hot too. So in the shallows, pop them up in the morning or in the evenings, and they've been doing really well.
And then for you fishermen still fishing the Inner Harbor area and all that area, and there's been pretty good. Same thing, boat fishing or just from the shoreline. And some other things that we've mentioned before is just throwing, you know, small jerk baits right in the same areas. Something dives down to 3-4 foot of water. Give it a couple jerks, reel it in fast, or even behind it, somebody throwing top water, and that works pretty good. But yeah, jigging wise, you know, it's been good. Something else to keep a eye on. I know you like the heavier stuff for jigging, and that's pretty much going to be this Cobia Jigs, those squid darter heads. A lot of guys don't use them up here, and I don't know why, because it actually gives your bait, like this busting baits, a good side-to-side action.
That's awesome.
So it's something to try out there and give it a try. But yeah, soft plastics with the bigger size like that, like a 7-inch plastic, is going to produce you some bigger fish underneath breaking fish, because there's still breaking fish all around.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then you can go back to your traditional ways of fishing for rockfish, like chumming. You know, I've seen some pictures. I've heard some really good reports of the typical spots, Pedickery, over at Love Point. You can chum them up, even over at the bridge, over near the dumping grounds. You can definitely chum them up over there. We have plenty of LY coming in, I believe, Alex. We have the chum buckets here too as well. And then Alex, so we're not carrying the live spot anymore.
Right.
We have a lot of customers coming in asking, is live line bite still hot?
Yeah, it's still
so
hot.
what can they do to
spot them fish with fish bites, bloodworms? Of course, there's still plenty of spot everywhere throughout the area. Usually, they'll sit here and wait it out until pretty much the first week of October. So,
cool.
With that saying, you can still live line as long as you can find spot, and if not, throw some live perch up there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they'll eat a perch too. Yeah. They'll definitely eat a perch for sure.
Now let's go into some of the perch fishing. So what have you heard from perch?
Yeah, so listen, the perch is just like I said in the beginning. They're everywhere. People are catching them all different ways. They're up in the rivers. They're in the holes out in the bay. One thing I want to share with everyone, because as hot as these rooster tails are, and of course our perch pounders, which by the way, guys, hot off the presses, we just got a shipment of perch pounders in. We don't have them in the video, but we have them downstairs. So come in and get them. Another way of getting these things. Now, if you look at this little spoon right here, you go, how in the world am I supposed to throw this? Well, one of the old school methods that I kind of grew up with throwing these real light type lures is to pair it up with a bobber, a bobber with a sinker on it, so a weighted bobber. This will get you out there. It'll leave enough, so you leave enough slack on your, on your leader with your lure. It'll get you out there. I'll give you the weight. And the cool thing about this is as you're reeling it in, your bobber's gonna go.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so that works pretty well. So try that. If we end up running out of some of these, don't give up. Try some of these lighter lures and pair them up with a weighted bobber. And they work. They absolutely work.
So yeah, most of the guys from the shore are catching, like Sandy Point, a mix of like perch, spot, even some puppy drum. Bluefish too. I mean, there's pretty much all the stuff's coming up here now. But Kid and Arrows, a lot of rock fishing going there in the evenings for the guys catching jigs and all that kind of stuff.
You just reminded me. So there's been a lot of customers coming in the morning that are going on head boats, leaving out of Kent and Arrows, right? And they're doing just what you said. So they're targeting rock, but a lot of them are targeting the bottom type fishing, so spot and perch. And so they're going standard top bottom rigs, 2 ounce weight, 1 ounce weight, and using fish bites and using bloodworms.
And if you're out on the boat, just find an oyster bar, hard bottom, sandy bottom, and you have the buoys marking the oyster bar. So literally go out there, anchor up, and drop down, and you'll catch those fish. Mackerel fishing and bluefish. There's still some fish around. Especially mackerel. There's been some reports all spread out through the area, even in the Seven River, up in the Patapsco, which is weird.
That's crazy.
But it's been on and off.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're out there on Saturday. I'm gonna pick up the new boat on Saturday, so we're excited to try it. But yeah, it's been spotty with them. I think we got someone here had a report of them catching them up again down in that Severn River area. It's going to be hit and miss though. A lot of it's further south at this point. So,
and just remember the timeline, guys. This is pretty much the time when they start to move south. And I'm not saying they're all going to leave, but remember, just keep a mental log or keep it in your pictures. Literally, take pictures and it tells you the dates. But yeah, this is literally the time when you're gonna want to start moving south towards Chesapeake Beach and below that to really get a day off mackerel fishing. Bluefish are still around here. They won't really go away until probably the second week of October, if not longer. But nothing big. They're all snapper size bluefish, and you're catching them trolling and doing all that kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So the cool thing is if you're gonna take a day and try to target mackerel, you can use those planers and you can use those spoons, and you'll pick up rockfish and those blues too. So you don't get the mackerel, but you'll still get rock. So, cool.
And then just talking about it a little bit and touching basis on trolling wise, besides mackerel and whatnot. Rockfish. If you're fishing for rockfish and you want to troll, I recommend, you know, staying north of the bigger bridge, and you can actually go back to your typical soft plastic 6-inch body size shats on there. And the reason why is just the bluefish. If you start trolling these down south, they're going to be gone within
they're going to tear them up. Yep.
But yeah, fishing up there, say between, you know, 20 and 30 foot of water, channel edges.
Yep.
Around, like, I recommend going inside the Chester, actually. Love Point to the Chester, right at the bend there. Can narrows and move up from there, and that's been a hot spot there for rockfish.
Very cool. What about drum?
Drum,
I'm hearing that they're catching drum in all kinds of crazy places.
Yeah.
How do you catch them? What do you use? Where are they?
So places, they're all spread out through the area right now. It's usually when we get to the fall, like right now, we're getting really into the early fall stages. They kind of come up pretty heavy, and like we mentioned before, you're starting to see more and more bigger size drum. Not your bull redfish, but your, you know, 15 to 22 inch redfish.
Okay.
And areas that you're going to find them are pretty much same thing as almost like if you were perch fishing.
Yep.
Oyster bottom areas, points, rocky points. Like that's why most people are catching with perch lures, because they're fishing those you know, shorelines where there's rocks and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And then also grassy areas. Like if you're fishing anywhere around, like say Ken Island, Eastern Bay, just fishing like Tillman Point in those areas in shallow will pretty much surprise you, and you'll get a nice size drum or even a speckled trout this time of the year.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. So what are we doing here with, speaking of speckled trout, what are we doing with them?
Down south mainly, you're going to be finding them, same thing, Bloodsworth Island, pretty much Hooper's Island's the closest area to really get into them. But like I mentioned before, don't be surprised if you're in Eastern Bay and you're catching a few of them.
If I'm targeting them, what am I using, Alex?
You can use, if you're a bait fisherman, just anchor up, throw some peeler crab on the bottom. If you actually want to throw some lures, you know, you can actually use smaller jig heads, like 1/4 ounce, up to a 1/2 ounce with some curly tails and some small 4-inch paddle tails, and then we'll give you, and the gulp, you know, gulps that we go to.
Good old gulp.
For them. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the closest areas that you're going to be able to get into some actual good speckled trout fishing.
Gotcha. So that kind of covers our fish for this general area.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about crabbing. Crabbing has just been phenomenal. I mean, it really has. It's been outstanding, and it's been everywhere.
Nice.
So guys are getting their limit of bushel crabs. You know, the folks who have the 2 licenses on the boat are getting their two bushels of crabs. The crabs are heavy, they're healthy. It's a good time to crab, and you're going to use your traditional bait for crabs. You know, you're running traps. You have the option. You can use the bags of razor clams. But chicken necks, I mean, they work, and they're working now. These crabs are eating. They're trying to fatten up.
Getting ready for the winter.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to continue to be good for the next several weeks. So great time to crab.
Yep. Now, Ocean City fishing. A lot of good reports actually from Ocean City, especially this past weekend with some great weather. Most of the guys fishing the inlet were catching tog, sheep's head, you know, all kinds of stuff, bluefish, rockfish, you name it, everything that went like swim past, flounder and all that.
That's crazy.
You know, I heard some guys actually using half of a peeler crab just on a tog jig to catch those sheep's head.
Yeah, I saw the pictures on social media. These sheep's head are no joke. They look like doormats, and they were just like you were saying, using crab, and then they were using like a green crab as well, right there at the inlet. That must be exciting. I've got it. That's on the bucket list. Definitely
flounder fishing, you know, of course, your gulp and whatnot, all in the inlet. Route 50 bridge has been pretty productive. A lot of shorts, not too many keepers. Guys going offshore, pretty much the wrecks have been catching a few good-sized flounder, nothing exciting, you know, size-wise, but a lot of keepers out there. And some of those guys going out there, you know, 12, 15 miles are sometimes getting a little mahi here and there.
I've seen the pictures of those.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Lenny's video, Lenny Verdal's video. He caught some nice ones. They actually took a kayak out offshore and we're fishing around the lobster ponds.
Yep, they went out 30 miles. So yeah, everything it's in tight for mahi. Of course, we want to get the bigger ones, head out to the canyons and fish those, you know, lobster buoys and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, that's been pretty good. Surf fishing should be picking up here in the next few weeks with the annual redfish run going down in Chesapeake towards Chincoteague. So good, keep an you know, eye out for that, because it's going to happen anytime. And, you know, for that, you want those big cut baits, and you'll get some sharks and stingrays with that. But
Very
that's
cool.
going to be picking up here soon.
Very cool. So,
Yep.
good time to fish. My favorite time of the year to fish. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Cool
get out
weather.
there and go.
Yep. I think that's it for your fishing report, guys. And you guys have a good one.
Take care.